that's dark. Okay, better. Oh. Over here. Oh. Let's do this. Hey Freebs Nation, Jordan Page from funcheaperfree.com and budgetbootcamp.com here. And today we're talking budgeting. And I'm gonna give you my 5 best tips for those of us who hate budgeting. That's right, we just don't like it. But we do it anyway because we're big and grown up, and I'm gonna show you how. Let's do this. Thank you Wealthfront for sponsoring this video and making it possible for us. Today, we're gonna talk about the B word, that 4-letter word, budgeting. Ugh. For those of you who absolutely love budgeting and rock at it and it's like the coolest thing you've ever done, good for you. I am not that person, which is ironic because, hi, I'm Jordan Page, budgeting and frugal living expert, and I don't like budgeting. But we do it anyway. Kind of like eating your veggies, kids. You do it anyway. But here's the thing, even though I'm not naturally a great budgeter, I've been on TLC, Today Show, Rachel Ray, Good Morning America, and many more because I have some of the simplest budgeting tips you will ever do, ever, and they work. And they're really not that bad. They're not that miserable, I promise. Let's get to the tips. All right, my first is budget by percentages, not by dollars. I don't know about you, but Bubba and I, pretty much our entire marriage, we have been self-employed, commission-based entrepreneurs. It is still not only possible, but completely practical and doable to have, set, and maintain budgets even if your income is up and down. And the main principle of this, I call the 70% rule. Now, I teach about this a lot in Budget Bootcamp. I do have some videos that break this down better, but here's a really quick high-level overview. Take your take-home income for the month, not the money that it says on your tax statement or your pay stub, because there's taxes and withholdings and insurance and all this stuff. But physically, what is in your bank account that you have to work with, you break it into 3 categories of percentages. 70% of it you have to spend on everything. Mortgage, bills, utilities, eating out, groceries, travel, extracurriculars, emergencies, medical bills. Everything you spend money on needs to be 70% or less of your take-home income. Okay? And then 20% every single month goes to savings. If you have pressing debt, like credit card bills, outstanding bills, money you owe people, high interest student loans, instead of savings, that needs to go toward debt because your savings isn't doing you any good if you have debt that is charging you money every single month. And at the end of the day, the debt always wins. They will take that money out of your savings account if they have to. It's really not secure until that pressing debt is paid off. You have $1,000 in savings, the rest needs to go toward that pressing high interest debt. And then 10% philanthropic or proactive. We take that 10%, we tithe it to our church every month. For you, you could choose the charity of choice, or you could be more proactive with it. You could put that toward investing, retirement, your children's savings accounts for college or marriage or the future. And that's it. Now, no matter how much money you make, you now know what your budget is. Truth be told, when we were newlyweds in the middle of our financial disaster, we couldn't live off of 70% of our income because our income was so small. So the goal is to get to 70%. You may have to make some tough choices and say no to travel or extracurriculars, clothing, or eating out until you get your debt paid off, maybe earn more money at work or whatever you need to do to get to that 70%. Base your budgets off of percentages. You never have to change the math. It's great. All right, are you ready for my most important tip that I will probably ever give? It is open at least 7 bank accounts. What? I know, okay, don't turn off the camera. Hear me out. This is a tip I've been sharing for years. It has been one of my most viral tips because it works. Back in the day when our grandpops and grammies would go to the bank, fill out papers, do things in person, suck it through the little tubey thing. Welcome to 2021, sis. Things have changed for the better. Now banking is so slick and so simple and so easy. The more accounts you have, the more organized your money is. Think of it like a filing cabinet. All your papers just get thrown in there, and sure, they're safe and they're tucked away, but do you really know where everything is? Do you know what it's for? Do you know whether you need it? Give yourself file folders. Give yourself multiple accounts, one for travel, one for medical bills, one for home repairs, one for week-to-week spending, one for emergency savings. You will get out of debt faster, you will build your savings faster, and you will be able to finally afford all of those things you've wanted to but never can, simply because you're setting it aside, out of sight, out of mind, creating a space and place for it. Now, how do you do that? My bank charges me so much money. My bank makes it really complicated. My bank charges me fees every time I transfer money. Friend, you are at the wrong institution. Let me tell you about Wealthfront, for example. Wealthfront has banking services like you've never seen before. No overdraft fees. They have no account fees. They have no hidden fees, no upfront fees, ever. All you need is $1 to open an account. They will never even charge you low account fees. They don't have maintenance fees, I'm telling you. And they pay you to keep your money with Wealthfront. The way it works is all the money that you deposit into your Wealthfront account gets paid interest on the money for just sitting there. You can still have access to it anytime you want. Also, one thing that's cool about Wealthfront, when you set up direct deposit into your Wealthfront account, they can actually get you your paycheck up to 2 days earlier. Wealthfront is not a bank, it's a tech company. So they have this modern technology, they make it possible. So what's cool is they have all the checking features that you're used to. But what I love is they organize your cash for you. So you use the Wealthfront cash account, and then you take your money and you organize it into categories. So basically, the moment your paycheck arrives in your cash account, you let Wealthfront software, they handle all the details. They let you send checks. They'll help you reach your savings goals. They can even help you invest money so that you can start building up your future, a savings plan, a retirement plan, that your money automatically routes where it needs to go without any extra effort on your part. And it takes my 7 bank accounts principle that I've been teaching for years and basically makes it effortless and does it for you. I promise it's possible. And Wealthfront is a perfect example of how. Here's what you need to do. Use my link in my profile and go open a Wealthfront cash account. You need $1, that's all you need, and just try it out. More information and disclosures below, be sure to check it out. Okay, my next tip with budgeting kind of goes along with the 70% rule. So now what do you do with that 70%? My tip is to budget by week, not by month. Some people give themselves a monthly eating out budget, a monthly gas budget, a monthly grocery budget, and all of that is fine. But there's a reason we don't count calories a month at a time. It's a lot of numbers to keep track of. Take that monthly budget and break it down per week. If you go by week instead of month, it will be an accurate budget that you really only have to track 6 or 7 days at a time, which is so much easier than tracking big numbers for 30, 31 days at a time. For example, I've talked about this a million times. I have many videos, I'll link some below, but I recommend your grocery budget to be $100 per person in your family per month. So if you are a family of 4, that's $400 a month. Now, if there's only 1 or 2 of you, start with $300 a month. And then when you get to 4 people, $400 a month, and so on, okay? But rather than trying to keep track of a $400 budget, break it down, give yourself $100 per week. My rule, though, you may not borrow from the next week. That is a big no. You will find yourself constantly in debt to yourself, and it won't keep that pace. Make sacrifices to make it work. Give yourself a budget, track it for the week. Don't think about it for the whole month. All right, my next tip is for anyone who has ever had an argument, fight, or disagreement about money. Listen up, you ready for this? Divide and conquer. Why do you think you fight about money? Really, like if you really drill it down, you fight about money because you're in each other's business. Let's say you start a business. Let's say you're cranking, you're doing your thing. You are CEO, but let's say you bring in another CEO. How do you think that's gonna go? If you have the exact same duties, the exact same responsibilities, and let's say you have 2 vice presidents. What if we had 2 presidents of the United States? How would that work? Not well. If it doesn't work in business, why do you think it would work in your family? It doesn't. You will butt heads. Been there. We teach about this in depth in Budget Bootcamp. But the brief overview is sit down with your partner and divide up. Bubba and I, we were fighting about money so hard, it was ruining our relationship. We sat down, we printed out everything we spent money on over the last 3 months. I had a pink highlighter and he had a blue one, and we took turns and we said, okay, I'm with the kids all day. You know, I like pen and paper. I'm in my car a lot. So the things that make sense for me are the things that have to do with the kids, are the things that have to do with running errands. I'm the one that cooks, so it makes sense for me to handle the grocery budget and the meal plan and the groceries. Bubba is on his computer all day, so he handles things like the banking, investing, insurance, paying bills. It's not that Bubba doesn't get a say for what's in my court. It's that I am responsible for managing it just like a company. If you have one of my budget planners, there is a whole section that shows you how to break down and divide and conquer, and then break it down and shows you how to find a budget for each person. If you don't have a planner, that's okay, but I do have a video that explains this in a little better detail. At the end of the day, sit down, split it up, and stop fighting about your money. And last but not least, such an important tip, do a weekly weigh-in. If you are on a weight loss plan and you want to lose 100 pounds, you're not going to wait for 6 months to weigh yourself. You are probably going to weigh yourself daily or possibly weekly so you can mark your progress, see what's working and what's not. It gives you extra motivation along the way, it holds you accountable, all the good things. Budgeting is the same. Bubba and I found that when we were only talking about money once a month or once every couple of months, it was much more stressful, much harder, a lot of finger pointing, it wasn't great. We started doing weekly weigh-ins and it changed the game. Choose a day. For us, it's Sunday night. Kids are in bed, we're planning out our week, we sit down and we talk about money. The first few times it might take a little while, but after a while, it's only a few minutes. Again, in the budget planner, we have a sheet that walks you through it. You just ask the questions and fill it out and it walks you through it. But essentially, pretend it's a company meeting for that week and you're sitting in the conference room and your job is to report on your department's role for the previous week. You're gonna talk about wins, what went well, expenses and budgets, what's working and what's not. You're gonna report directly on how your budget went. Remember that weekly budget that we broke down? You're gonna report on how that went. Prevents the finger pointing of like, well, you spent too much on this and you did this. You are in charge of you. But humble up, Buttercup. It's really hard to talk about yourself, especially when maybe you weren't performing at your best. You're gonna talk about upcoming expenses to take note of, and then you talk about ways to improve for the next week, motivations, goals. Just sit down and chat, but just get it done and start talking about it weekly. So there you go. That was not that bad, right? Pick one, do it. Then pick another and do it. And before you know it, you are going to be a budgeting guru and you're gonna have so much money you're not even gonna know what to do with yourself. Ooh, I'm excited for you. Thanks again to Wealthfront for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out my link in the description for much more information. All right, I gotta go get some groceries, start using that budget the way I need to, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Check me out on Instagram. Let me know if you have any questions. Be sure to connect there as well as here on YouTube, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Oh, exit this way. Bye. You guys ready to see our list and all of our secret finances? Oh, we're super good at this.